What is up, everybody? It's Matt Johnson. We are back with another episode of Real Estate Uncensored. This is the place where you get actionable ideas, insight, and inspiration to turn your real estate career into a life of freedom and become a rock star agent in your market, which is what we all want to do. Don't we all want to be the rock star to the right group of people? And speaking of rock stars, we have one here with us. I speak, of course, of myself. Greg is over there. I don't know what Greg is.
Bullshit.
I knew I would take the air out of you. Greg McDaniel, my partner, my partner in crime, my co-host, the junior grandmaster himself, in the co-pilot seat, where you so belong after most of last week not being together on the podcast. What is up?
I didn't do shit last week. And then you bailed on me. The Volpinator stepped in. Thank God his daughter got sick, so he had the time to come in. We had a fantastic guest. It was just an overall just beautiful, awesome experience, given the fact that I got to take the entire show over, which was my favorite part. Mm-hmm. But I got to say, dude, it's good to have you back. Glad to hear that you made it back from Mexico in one piece. No Montezuma's revenge. You are not on a weight loss program through your posterior. But you're rocking and rolling, man. It's good to be back, brother.
Oh, man, that's funny. I had not thought about that. That's interesting. All right. Well, what we're going to do on this episode is we're going to cover objections, right? Okay. So I want to cover one or two right off the bat here, and then we'll dive into my stories from this weekend.
Your adventures.
Oh, man.
Casey wants to be a rock star, Matt. Can we make Casey Gray a rock star? I think we can.
I think we can too. All right, guys. So we've got a ton to talk about today. We're talking about objections. We're going to talk about my trip to Mexico. We're going to talk about the stuff that we're noticing in our training class and in our training with prime seller leads, the people that are following up on buyer and seller leads. We might go into a little bit of the scripting and stuff like that for FSBOs and for following up on leads when you actually catch them online. That's some of the stuff that we've been working with them on. But let's start off with an objection.
Okay.
So this is a good one. Jessica Mushevic says, here's a good objection. I want to wait until there's more inventory and options and possible better buyer conditions. Now, this is one, Greg, I would imagine you run into, if you're heavily tilted towards buyers and you enjoy working with buyers, I'm sure you run into this stuff. So what's the standard line with that?
So she's basically just saying that she wants to wait till there's more inventory to choose from?
Yep.
That's easy, man. You use the secret MLS line on her. Tell her that you're tapped into a secret MLS where people are logged in and put their homes on, not officially on the market most of the times, but you have access to it. Never say you have paid access or anything. Just say you have access to a secret group, and you can tap into that, and there might be some homes in there to pick from. Because it's really not about the timing. What the person is truly saying, in my opinion, Matt, is the fact that they want to wait for those better options. That means they haven't seen what they like yet. Because if they saw what they like, they don't give a shit if there's more options or less options. They'll go after what they want to buy. Or they could be saying that it's a pricing thing because maybe they've got bid out or beat out a couple other times, and they're like, you know what, my feelings got hurt, I can't afford it anymore. And to save their own face, they just say, we're going to wait till there's more options. AKA, bitch ass can't afford shit. That's what it's saying.
They have an island villa taste on a mobile home budget.
Yes, that is precisely it, Matt.
Oh man, yeah, guys, go look up John Mulaney, real estate agent, on YouTube. Not right this second, but when you have a chance. Not right this second. I'm just saying, for the betterment of your life as a real estate agent, go look up John Mulaney's bit about real estate agents, because that was he goes into how buyers walk into, or just the whole HGTV phenomenon. It's fantastic. But anyway.
Wait, is that the really thin younger dude?
Yes.
The guy talks about the real estate agent is always like, this would be a great nursery.
Uh-huh. Yes, it's that. So guys, go listen to that. I love that one. Okay. So yeah, I like the secret MLS thing. The other option, the other way to go with that is to tell them, obviously, yes, do the secret MLS thing, but then say, and beyond that, we can also just, look at me as your person that can go out and, like a laser, find exactly the type of home, or maybe down to the exact home that you want, and I can go talk specifically to those sellers and see if, go talk to the homeowners, but see if they're interested in selling, and maybe even create an opportunity there that doesn't even exist. A completely off the market property, I might be able to take someone that's not even thinking about selling and get them to sell their house and make it your new home. That's the first stage of what Kevin Dutoit would call triple ending a deal, is using your existing buyer as leverage to go out and find them a deal, which then you're going to help that person get out of their house, sell it to your buyer, and then go find a new home. And the cycle goes on and on. There's a great episode that I did with Kevin and Mike LaFido over on the Luxury Listing Podcast, so go look that up if you want more details on that. But to me, that's another great way beyond the secret MLS is to say, look at me as the person that can go find you exactly what you want. I don't give a crap if it's on the MLS or not. That's all you have access to, and that's all most agents will show you because they are too lazy to go after and see what else is out there when it comes to past expired listings, people that tried to sell and were disappointed and have pulled their homes off the market. They're not going to go after for sale by owners. They're definitely not going to go to a home that's completely off the market, and they're not going to prospect for your next home for you. I'm going to earn every dollar of my commission by finding you the exact house that you want to buy, and then we're going to make an offer on it, and that's my value proposition to you. So that's how I would handle it.
I like it. Two totally different points of view, and I think that there's value in each one of them. It's again, like we talked about in PSL, in getting out of business. We talk about just about this type of a thing, how to be proactive, how to go out and find these different opportunities. But yeah, okay, let's go to the next one. I like okay. This is a fun game. It's like Russian roulette.
I know, and I hold the gun, and I know what the bullets are. So this is great for me.
It is weighted in your favor, I see.
Yeah, I think it is a little bit, yeah. All right. So Amy Izzo says, the objection is, I want to find a home before I list mine, but then mine better sell fast so I don't lose the house I found. Oh my God. Yeah. Okay, so I want to find my house first, but then I got to sell my house for top dollar so I can pay for my new house. Right.
Bitches be crazy, Matt. Bitches be crazy.
Oh man.
But so,
and we mean that in the most non-sexist way because that can be either a either gender or bitch. Yes.
Oh yeah.
Bitches be crazy.
Bitches be crazy. Gender neutral.
That's right.
Gender neutral.
That's right.
Why are we doing CYA clauses? This is fucking real estate uncensored. Damn it.
Well, I know. Yes.
Okay, so let's get back to this before we debate on
because we want to offend with a reason. We don't want to. We want to offend to help you improve, not offend for the sake of offending. So, all right. So go ahead, Greg. I want to find a home before I list mine, but then I need to sell mine fast so I don't lose the house I found. So this is clearly someone who just does not understand the market and how real estate is done.
So what would really have to take place there is that you need to control the client. Ultimately, at the end of the day, you have to explain to them that that's one of the most difficult situations to be in, and finding the house is not the problem, but the real control of the client is going to come on the sales side because they're gonna freak the fuck out when it comes to the selling of their home because now they are potentially on the hook for two different houses, one mortgage here, one mortgage here. Now, something you could do is maybe make an offer and see if you can get the sellers of the home they're just buying, maybe to part of a contract, they stay in the house, or you buy a house that they want to stay in the house. We had a buyer PITI for 30 days, 60 days, somewhere in there, so that your client, the buyer and seller, can be covering their nut on this side while this home is getting sold. So you could maybe structure something like that. You could also do something along the lines that you have the resale conversation. So I'd be Matt, Julie, your three obese little wood denting, insulin sucking little creatures. What we're going to need to do is we have to understand that when we get into contract on your future home, we have to sell your home at record speed. So you have to have a pricing conversation with them. They don't have the luxury of going for the highest price anymore. They have to go for just market value, put price at 3 to 5% below market price, get a mass reaction from the overall marketplace, have hopefully a bidding war, take the money and run. They're going to have a break even point somewhere or something they're going to need to take out of the home A to put into home B, figure out what that delta is, and what they need. Anything above that, price the home at that point, break it out of the park, and go forward. I mean, that's just a rough situation.
So that's the inside baseball part. That's the part that we know. What's the objection handler part?
It's the client control. Have a conversation. I mean, the objection handler is, okay, Matt, Julie, your three obese little wood denting, insulin sucking creatures. This is what we're gonna need to do. If you guys want to do it this direction, This is what we need to do. Like we just talked about, have the conversation, lay out the time schedule, lay out the expectations that they're going to need to be on. What a better way of going and say, look, why don't we do this? Why don't we get your home on the market, and then we will build in 30, 60, 90-day rent back for you, because we can find a new home for you in 30, 60, 90 days. And that's just part of the contract, that you have the ability to extend out your rent back up to 90 days. And then that way you aren't displaced. That would be the easiest of the two models to run, because then you're not juggling every single ball up in the air all at the same time.
And do you have the leverage in your area, with it being a seller's market, to get that kind of concession out and still get a selling price? Okay.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, shit, I got one of my clients. We ran into an issue with the foundation, but before I knew about the issue with the foundation, dude, this house is challenged. Okay, it's challenged. And we were
like many of the homes I saw in Puerto Vallarta.
Yes, they're challenged.
They have special needs.
Yeah, they're the short bus kid.
That special need is to be knocked down and rebuilt.
So what I would say is that, I got my guy damn near close to the listing price with a 45-day free rent back. I mean, and I had the ability to do it because we have the leverage here. So if you don't have that leverage, then you need to make them aware of it. I mean, shit, worst case scenario, you go buy a house. You go buy a house. Then you go put your house on the market. It doesn't sell right away. Reduce the price till it does. Be aggressive in your price reductions. Get the damn thing sold and move on with life. Mm-hmm. That's your worst case. So you don't make as much as you thought you were going to make, or you had to pull a little bit out of savings. But at least you're going to recoup that savings. At some point, you're going to build equity in your new home, and you're going to love where you're living. I mean, real estate is not always a perfect art craft. I mean, it is. It can be. It's usually a sword, not a scalpel, when it comes to doing the transactions.
Interesting. All right. Yeah, I think I guess the lesson that I take away from that, and because I'm not so, like, when my passion with real estate is not the art of the deal. Let's put it that way. Like, you're much more into that than I am. Structuring the deal, getting overcoming those problems and stuff like that. I was never so much interested in that part of real estate. I was interested in the marketing and sales part. So what that tells me that I wouldn't have necessarily thought about is that no matter what kind of market you're in, when those situations come up, there is a solution. You may have to just reach out to your broker or an experienced agent or someone like Greg that has put those deals together over and over and over again over the last 20 years, that knows, hey, in a buyer's market, here's how that would work. In a seller's market, here's how you explain that. In a balanced market, here's how you explain that. Because there's a slightly different answer for each one of those scenarios, but it is possible to get the deal done and get what they want. You just have to be able to explain it in a way that gets them to make the right decision.
Right, but you're getting into dangerous territory because that's a daisy chain deal. Because you have contract A in the buy, and you got contract B in the sale of the home. What if the buyer of that home has to be contingent on the sale of their home? Fuck, there are so many things that can go wrong. And one false move on one deal, house of cards comes crashing down. Stay away from those things at all costs. It stresses the agents out. Not just your sellers and buyers. You have to deal with. You have to work with the other buyers and sellers sets and understand the personalities. And it's like having more than one girlfriend. It's just a nightmare. Does she want the red or the white roses? Fuck.
Nobody should have to suffer like that. Nobody. All right. So Craig Bertram brings up a good one. With the houses moving in my neighborhood as fast as they are, I don't need a realtor to sell my house and eat my profits. Man, that's a good one, because we just dealt with. We were just talking about FSBOs today on PSL training with prime seller leads. So let's talk about that for a second. With the house, and that's a common one right now, because there's places all across the country where markets are moving, and even Omaha, man. If you don't get to those FSBOs within a week, they might be under contract. Now, granted, it's most likely going to fall apart and all this stuff, and they're going to have issues, and they're going to be confused, and they might end up hiring an attorney, and yada yada yada. We all know that. They don't know that, and that's the problem. Is that might be moving quickly enough that they actually do get a legit offer, and they think they've got it done. So, Greg, how would you handle that?
You want to identify what their true pain point. What are they really telling you? Are they telling you it's about money? Are they telling you it's about a past experience? Are they so close to that delta on their what they're going to net out that paying an agent just really isn't in the books? I mean, you also need to do education to to that potential client, let them know that, on average, when people use an agent to sell their home, they make on average $40,000 more than doing it themselves. Not to mention all the legal protections and the E&O and the contractual loopholes that if a successful agent on the buy side can come in and manipulate the shit out of that seller because they just don't know what they're doing. I mean, it's like handing a toddler the keys to a Ferrari. They don't know what to do with the damn thing, except for poop on the seat, which is not going to do anything for you.
Well, it makes the seat warmer, but I mean, there's other issues to consider. But yeah, I got you.
Yeah,
I would agree with that. I mean, it's one of those things where I think that kind of objection is a symptom of because if you don't know exactly how to handle that objection, is because you don't have that information up front. And I know we've got a couple funny comments, but
I know.
I know what you're laughing at. But yeah, if you don't know what their motivation is, yes, you have the objection handler to that is to very deftly step back and try to evaluate what their motivation is, because there's no way to handle it if you don't know that. And I think the two main things that we've come up with when we're talking about how to deal with FSBOs is you need to know whether they're not going FSBO because of the finances and they want to or need to save the commission. And you mentioned, Greg, sometimes that's not just an objection. It's a condition. They literally cannot afford to give up that equity. At least that's their perspective. And then the other part of it is they've had a negative experience with an agent.
Right. And if you can't help them because you can't do anything, try doing a deal if you can, or giving your advice on a pro bono basis if they would agree to giving you referrals for your time. That could pay off in mass dividends.
Or let you hold open houses, or I mean, there's all kinds of stuff you can offer. Yeah,
all different caveats you can offer. I mean, when we spoke with Josh Altman, who actually was a surprisingly nice guy. He talked about how he worked at a rental agreement for like a lease agreement for just pennies on the dollar, right? But it turned into like $34 or $45 million worth of sales volume. For just because you don't know who these other people are connected to. And like we've always talked about, guys, you go into this business with a service-minded attitude and outlook. As soon as you do that, then it becomes a lot better because you're out there helping and serving people. Because you do real estate. That's what you do. You do sell homes. That's physically what you do. But you're ultimately a problem solver. There's a problem here. How do I solve it? Because if you treat these people the way you hope your brother and sister or mother and father or anyone else in your family would be treated by someone else when they're in a time of need. I mean, I went through a bankruptcy. I went through a foreclosure. I went down the humiliation, the shame. I did miss friends' weddings because I couldn't afford anything. I went down to $35 down to my name. Literally, that was it. I was scared to death of a $10 charge at Safeway when I was buying food, hoping it wouldn't get rejected. I get where those people might be coming from. And if they are, and you go into it with empathy and a heart of giving and helping them through a situation, they will never forget you, ever. And they will have the law of reciprocity. It's going to come into full effect once they're able to get back on their feet, or they can help you in some way, shape, or form. They will do so. Yeah. So that's what I would do. Wow, we went off in the deep end on that one.
Yeah, we did. All right.
I got emotional, Johnson.
So Stephen says, "Good day, gentlemen. Greg, you look very clean today," which I was going to comment on. You do look very clean cut, even more so than me, and I've trimmed up this morning.
I know. I had to get rid of the beard. I was looking like a hill people, just with grizzly beard.
Like Bear Grylls after 7 days of shooting.
Exactly. Very grizzly.
Right. So Zaya Colley says, "Would you consider doing an episode where you teach how to use LinkedIn for real estate?" Yes and no. No, because it would involve screen sharing, and yes, we do because it's in the Get Now business course. So if you would like to do that, like we do teach it, it's actually how I grow my business and how I connect with podcast guests. I mean, in some very high level people that I've been able to reach out and connect with on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is amazing, and one of them probably the most underutilized, overlooked, and neglected red-hatted stepchild of real estate lead generation, especially social and psychographic farming. And so, yes, we do teach it, but it's inside of the Get Now business live class. So we just started the first session of that today, Zaya. So you can sign up. We have to put the new dates up, but we'll have that course in August. That is where we teach it because it's not something that's really suitable for the show, which is more like a radio show. We have to do a lot of screen sharing to show you what to do with LinkedIn. So. Yeah, so the answer is yes and no, but go get that and Get Now business. And then Samantha is looking forward to you guys coming down to Mexico. Would love to meet you. We would love to do an event in Mexico. That would be awesome. I've seen Greg, there's a bunch of real estate offices in Puerto Vallarta. We could probably put something together and do a training.
Is there Corona and tequila shots involved? I'm in.
After the training.
We got to keep it lively. Mexican jumping beans. I'll be all over that stage. You give me a couple of tequila shots. No, but that'd be a lot of fun.
Me and Kristen were sitting around. We're outside at La Palapa overlooking the beach, this restaurant, famous in Puerto Vallarta. Mm-hmm. And we're sitting there, and what do I think about? I'm like, Greg would just be a puddle of sweat right now.
You're with your beautiful
That's literally what I thought. We actually chuckled to each other about that while we're trying to have romantic dinner, and you and your sweating comes up.
Baby, yes, honey, you look beautiful. Thank you, gorgeous. I think Greg would be sweating to death right now.
Yeah, pretty much.
Immediate romance killer.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, man.
Went from whispering sweet nothings to talking about you. Damn it.
It's right where I belong, man. Everybody's brain. All right, what's our next objection? This is fun.
Oh man. Okay. Let's see. Ooh, man. Okay, so April Casey says her objection is homes are inflated right now and the bubble is going to burst again and I'll have paid too much for this house.
Okay, so you need to ask them if this is a want or a need buy. And that's as much as it is. Do you want to buy this house or do you need to buy the house? Then no matter what, you say, look, you counsel them and say, look, real estate is a long-term investment. Yes, it is very cyclical event. So some months and years were up, some months and years were down. It really depends. But if you plan to stay here for more than 10 years, history has shown that you will come back to this, if not potentially more. But yes, you do need to be aware that you might be paying premium dollar. But if you're being transferred in or if you ta-da, you have twins on the way, you're like, fuck, I'm in a 2-bedroom house, and you got to go, then you got to go. Because Mama Bear is going to be pissed if she's got to have, fit all the kids in one room. Shit ain't going to happen, homeboy.
That's right. Double bunk beds. Man, that's a lot.
Matt, yours would have to be steel reinforced bunk beds.
They would.
Built
they would.
out of hollow steel,
I'm going to hire some of the people I saw down in Puerto Vallarta just to come into me, and then we're just going to like pour concrete and rebar. Like we're going to reinforce those bunk beds like the construction that was going on across from our condo. Going right down to the bedrock.
20-foot deep piers.
Yeah.
All right. But that's what I would do, without a doubt.
Yeah, I would agree. And I love getting into economic stuff, but I think that's probably the best way to handle that objection without getting too much into the weeds because, number one, they're right about the first two things. Number one, homes are inflated. Yes. Number two, the bubble is going to burst again. Absolutely. Those things are just a matter of time. But like you said, Greg, is it a want or a need? So if it's a want, so like we know what to do if there's a need. If they have to move, it's great. We need to plan out a very specific strategy for how we can get you the best deal, even though, yes, other people are paying maybe inflated values. We need to come up with a strategy to either get some off-market, listings or kind of, come up with something else that will get you a good deal and get you into the home that you need, even though other people are paying inflated. That's my job. That's my job as a strategist. Now, if they have a want, then yeah, absolutely. I would be honest with them. We talk about this in Get Now Business Today. The mindset that actually gets you referrals and wins you the admiration and respect of your inner circle and everyone that you come across is that ability for you to look somebody in the eye and tell them, I don't think it's right for you to make a move right now, and here's why.
Mm-hmm. And when you do that, you earn their trust. You earn their lifelong business because you're 100% honest with them. I mean, 2 years ago, I think it's been time flies too damn fast. At least 2+ years ago, we were selling a house for 800 and change thousand. No, sorry, for 1.2 or 1.3 million. And the guy who sold it talked to Terry, the Grand Master, 25 years ago, and Terry said, "Why don't you just hang on to that and you'll make some more money when you sell it?" The guy netted out over $800,000 cash to him for taking the advice. But he came back to us, said, "Hey, you advised me 25 years ago not to sell. You get my business," even though people were beating down this guy's door to have them help him sell it. Even one fucking cocksucker that literally Terry was standing there, the client was standing there, and this other agent was standing there, and this other agent goes, "Yeah, you know what? Why don't you just list with me instead of listing with Terry?" Seriously? Like right here? And the client looks back and goes, "No, man, I Terry. I owe Terry. And the other guy's like, no, man, I'll give you a break on the commission. Come on, work with me. I'm better. Fuck you, bro. No.
Goodness.
Blows on this man, dude. I mean, that's the loyalty. So the other guy looked back at us and goes, no. He advised me 25 years ago on what to do, and I'm going to repay him because I'm going to make a ridiculously large amount of money off of this. And he went, Matt, he went down to, not Mexico, he went down to Texas and bought not one, but 2 homes, all cash. One of them like a 3 or 4 acre lot on a house on a lake with a boat dock with lots of snakes, lots of spiders, and lots of scorpions. I'm like, ooh,
man. Yeah, I was going to say, buy you a palatial estate, but man alive, that sounds like an unpleasant new development to be in.
You have to check all their shoes so there's not scorpions in them. I'm like,
oh my gosh. No, thank you. Can you say no, thank you?
Oh, yeah. and there's an alligator in the lake. A real alligator that lives
in Texas. Yeah. Oh my gosh. What is going on there in Texas, guys? Come on now. Man, is Texas turning into Florida? Like this is not good. Like half of our fan base is in Texas and Florida. We're gonna have to go to you guys and see. I don't want to set foot in a state where everything is trying to kill me. Do I have to like go to my hotel and look in the toilet first?
For snakes?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh,
man. Every Florida listener is like, "Fuck you guys, man. We're just playing."
Yeah, that's right. It's not our fault you chose to live in a place where everything is trying to kill you. All right, so here's a good one, and this is actually funny because this is from Frank Klesitz from Viral Marketing too. So Frank says the objection is, I want to stay in my home. Rates are going up, and it's too expensive to buy. I don't want to sell right now.
Rates are going up. I want to stay in my home. It's too expensive to buy, so I'm going to stay in my home.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, stay in your home.
That's the objection handler.
Okay, stay in your home.
Man.
Who else do you know that might want to be a little bit more on the riskier side? I mean, guys, like I've said before, you can't push a seller out of a home, but you can draw a seller out. So if you're able to go out and beat the bushes and really be able to find something that's either not on the market or on the secret MLS or something like that would sell for a normal price that would be what the buyer is looking for, then you can get yourself a deal. But you're going to have to be more proactive than just searching the MLS and hoping that something's going to pop up. You've got to be thinking aggressively 2 or 3 steps ahead on how you're going to got to pull the seller out of their house and put them into a new home so you can sell their house. I mean, that's the only way to do it. I mean, especially if they're already thinking prices are too high, rates are going up. 2 things against you right there, and if the spouse, either the husband or the wife, is whispering in that person's ear, going, "This isn't what we should do right now," you're gonna have a 0 chance to get them out of that house unless you make the bait big enough and rewarding enough to draw them out.
Yeah,
that's the only way we're gonna be able to do that.
Yeah, I mean, if they're telling you, "I want to stay in my home," yeah, I mean that's where it comes down to that want versus need conversation. And if they don't need to, then they don't need to. All right, so those caught my eye because of the economic implications, and rates are, I haven't paid attention much lately, but I mean, the Fed is going to raise rates, which affect everything down the line. But I can tell you that at the first sign of things not going well economically or continuing to not go well economically, there will be massive pressure on them to drop it or hold it there and not continue to raise rates. Raising rates only works if the economy is strong enough and recovering enough to the point where you can raise the rates without it causing problems elsewhere, right? And right now we're not at that point. So the idea that rates are just going to start creep up, that it's ridiculous because the Fed will not allow that to happen. Because it's economic suicide for them, and they're going to look bad. And whoever Trump has in there at the moment, effectively they're letting the president down. Whoever is the president of the Fed at any one time always has the political pressure to keep the party going for whoever is in office at the time, so they don't fuck up the economy and get that president blamed for what happens on their watch. So everybody kicks the can down the road, hoping that the bubble is going to burst on the next president and that they get out of office first. It managed somewhat to work for Obama. We'll see how it shakes out, but he seems to have escaped without a massive bubble bursting on his watch that he couldn't blame on the previous president. So that's the way that works.
And I'm with you, man. I don't think we're not gonna. About a year and a half ago, we saw a rate hike, about a quarter point. It shut down the market in the Bay Area. Just like literally light switch, click, off, and you're just like, whoa. Then they brought it back down, and we resumed right back up where we were. And so
it just shows you how fragile things are.
Oh, dude, it is just, I mean, it's a house of cards. One thing to bring the whole thing down. But they're monitoring it so heavily that I doubt that we're going to have that type of a meltdown in our industry, at least.
I was going to say, the thing is that when you blow up an economic bubble, it always pops out in unexpected places. It doesn't pop out in the same way again. We didn't have, the 2008 wasn't a repeat of the savings and loan bubble from the 80s. It wasn't a repeat of the tech bubble from the late 90s. It was a different bubble. It'll be a different bubble next time around. The question is, what the hell is it? Is it corporate loans? Is it corporate real estate and development real estate? Is it student loans? I don't know what it's going to be, but
a lot of the people have been talking about either credit card and or student loans, and I think student loans are going to be a big one, because the cost of getting education in California, I'm sure it is across the country, it is absolutely astronomically high on what I've seen on some of these graphs. And dude, you can't afford it. People walk out with $80, $90, $100,000+ in debt right off the bat, and you wonder why young people are not buying homes as much as they used to. Well, because they physically freaking can't. So what's the moral of the story? Go buy investments, people, because those people need homes too. Here's my number, 925-919-78. Call me if you need something today. Shameless plug.
All right, here's a good one. I like this objection. You are too busy to focus on my needs. This could be either buyer or seller, but there's another person that put up a similar objection, which is you seem too busy to focus on selling my house. So they're variations of the same thing, so I want to deal with that. Essentially, you're too busy, Greg. So how do you handle that?
Oh, dude, this starts way back at the beginning. I mean, if you're being perceived that way right now, you need to change that perception today. And this is how you can start doing it, by reaching out, slowing down your pace a little bit, reaching out to past clients, reaching out to other people, and just sitting, having lunch, going to coffee, be seen as someone who has the time to sit and hang out with anybody and everybody. I've had people say to me, well, Greg, you don't sell these smaller homes, and they're referring to an $800,000 home. Or, Greg, you don't have enough time. And I'm like, you didn't even call me to even ask me. And I helped them buy the damn house. So it's about how you're seen. I mean, as everyone knows, I'm always on freaking Facebook Live, at least 1 to 2 times a day. So people see that it's a nonstop grind. But, when I'm doing my calls, I slow down with them. I hang out, we chat. It's not like, okay, I'm not pushing them through a mill of like how many people can I get through in X amount of time. What I try to do is I just say, hey, man, let's hang out. What's going on? How's life? What's new? That kind of a thing. But it's your perceived efficiency and effectiveness in the marketplace. How effective and efficient are you? Are you running around like a chicken with your head cut off? Or are you just kind of you're like the dude from the Big Lebowski, you just chilling, drinking a White Russian? I mean, you can't change that if they're already giving you that objection, unless they're a friend and a family member, and you can really have a conversation with them and ask them why they're saying that, because you take equal care and love for every one of your clients. You and I have had, fun debating this before. I think that every single client, your $200,000, well, for us, like rock bottom, $200,000 buyer to your $20 million buyer or seller, they get the same exact level of service, so that they have no foundation for that saying. You can potentially give them, testimonials from different price points and say, well, if you feel that way, then here's what my past clients have said about me. That can help offset that a little bit. I don't know. That's a rough one, man. That's a rough one. But I mean, Jeff is incredibly busy. I mean, did he ever get that when he's on track to do 750 deals this year or something like that?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, and you'll get that objection when you do 4 deals a month, and most agents feel like they're insanely busy doing 3 or 4 deals a month, and they might be right. There's 2 ways I would handle that, and yes, you're right, Greg. There is a little bit where the ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Like once that objection is there, here's how I would handle the objection, which is to say, I know it seems like I am really busy, and that's true. Like I'm very focused on being productive, and and obviously I want to get as much done during the day so that I can go home and spend time with my family at night and not have things to think about. We all really treasure that time with our families, don't we? Nod your head. We all treasure that time with our families. So here's how I get things done and make sure that you get the focused attention that you need, even though yes, we are very busy. Which is we have a whole team of people around us. and each one of them has dedicated specialized roles to make sure that they can do what they do best, and they handle specific parts of the transaction that, believe me, you do not want me handling, paperwork being one of those things, and filling out the checklist and all this stuff. So we've got people that do those specialized things so that I can focus on what I do best. So even though I am busy, I'm able to drop in and really do the things that really need my undivided attention. And I don't have to do that while I'm trying to do paperwork for this other person and get this other listing up there. Like, I've got people for all that stuff. So I think we can do a lot of business, and we can help a lot of families and still give them the individual attention that they need because I have people supporting me. That's number one. Number two is that we have great systems so that we are not slowed down by having to reinvent the wheel every single time we work with a client. We have great systems that help us get homes up on the MLS. They help us help our buyers find the right houses very quickly. We're able to make good offers right away. We're able to get a lot of buyers in through our open houses. So we don't have listings sit on the market for 3, 4, 5, 6 months at a time, just sucking up all the time and energy and taking us away from other things. We get homes sold quickly, and we help buyers find properties quickly. And so we're able to help a lot of families, but we get things done for them in a shorter period of time. And I'm sure you don't want this project, this process to last, 4, 5, 6 months, do you?
No, that sounds like living hell.
Yeah, and it is for most people. So we really focus on getting things done quickly and efficiently, and that's how we're able to help a lot of people. But you still have someone that you can always turn to. If I'm not available, we have other team members, and we have a specific point of contact where you can have their phone number. They're available 24/7, even if I'm not. And so there's always someone that can answer your question and give you the individual attention that you need. So I hope that takes care of that, and that you'll trust that our track record and the past performance that we've been able to do for other families would, kind of remove that objection, make you feel like you are going to get our individual attention.
Something that I do, this is my booklet that I've shown you guys a million times. I always, to handle that, I bust out the little bio on everyone on the team, right? And I say, here's our guarantee that one of the 3 blue shirts, one of the partners, will always be in town to handle everything. And then Eileen, our team manager, will be able to be communicating with you no matter what, so that no matter how busy you think that we are, we always have time for every one of our clients no matter what. Because you can, even if you're a single agent and you're just doing this on your own, you can still make that same claim if you partner up with other agents. Let's say, God forbid, you take one of those things that's it's like the unicorn of real estate, a vacation, and you go out of town. Say you go to Mexico for a week or two, right? Well, if you partner with someone else who's in town that you trust implicitly, give them a 50% split of handling the business when you're out of town, then there's always someone that's going to be there for you. I mean, there's a lot of ways to skin a cat, even if you're just starting out, or a single agent, or a husband-wife team, which typically I hope you guys vacation together. Other times, we got to talk, okay, if you're vacation without your husband or without your wife. But, yeah, I think we've beat that one to the ground.
I think so. All right, guys. So we want to hear from you guys. So make sure you put your objections that you're running into or that you're curious about, things that you've struggled with in the past. Make sure to put them here in the comments on Facebook so we can handle them right here live on the show.
Matt, that brings something up. You know what, guys? Matt and I have talked about this, and I want to ask you guys this. Matt and I are very interested about what you guys are struggling with. Okay, and we made this offer out to today on our Getting Out Business class. I'm going to do it here on the show. Is the fact that if you're listening to this in the recorded or in the live one, if there is something that you guys need help with, reach out to us. And if enough people say the same thing, we will make a class and/or a course about it. And if you're the one that brings it to us, we will give you that class or course for free. But we want to know what you guys are going through on a daily basis that we can mitigate and help you and other people. Because Matt and I can pontificate and sit up on a podcast and say, oh, I think everyone needs this or everyone needs that. Well, fuck that. What do you guys tell us? We're not in your trenches. We don't know what you're dealing on with on a daily basis. So type in the comments or reach out to me or Matt on Facebook Messenger and tell us what you want. And once we get, whoever hits us up with the first one first, you'll be the genesis of it. And then we'll give you guys the course for free. And that way we can always be, top of mind for you guys. If you run across something, always keep us up in the loop. That would be something that I think would be really helpful. Matt, what do you think, man? Yeah,
I think probably the best thing is just to tell us what your biggest challenge or your biggest sticking point is. Because that is the easiest way for us to get a sense of where you guys are at and how we can best help you guys. Is just tell us what you're struggling with, what the big challenge is, what the big sticking point is. A great example is if your sticking point is you're trying to force yourself to do cold calls and it's just not happening for you. You can't get yourself, the phone is made of lead to you. You cannot get yourself to pick up the phone. We have an answer for that, right? Because we worked with Deborah Dupree and we created the Introverts Guide to Sales Success. So that's up there, by the way, guys. That episode just dropped today on iTunes. And so if you listen to that and that special offer that we gave out live is actually still good today because the iTunes episode came out, guys. So if you go to reuncensored.com/introvert, that will take you to the sales page where it describes the course, and that special where we knocked it down from $97 to $67 is actually valid today. So guys, if you're watching this live, you can grab that too. But just stuff like that, like it's if we know what your biggest sticking points are, because we're not mind readers and we don't know exactly who else is in the audience and what stage you guys are at. We know we have a lot of new agents in the audience, and that's awesome. So a lot of you guys are struggling with just the typical, hey, like what broker do I go work for? And what the hell do I say when they ask me if I'm in real estate and what the market's like? We get that. For those of you that are more advanced and have been in the business for a while, you might have different objections, and we want to hear those too. Different sticking points, different challenges. But anything that you can think of, we can create a course on it. We can find the answer if we don't already have it, and we can create a course for you to help get over that challenge. So I just wanted to throw that out there. So good. You've got the Greg just put the link to that in the Facebook chat for you guys. So reuncensored.com/introvert. Speaking of the course, for example, this is a great example. So we had a gal that was in the course today, and she's in Dallas, and she's running up against this objection. Well, hey, there are other teams that they'll list my home, and they guarantee that if they don't sell it in X number of days, that they'll actually sell it for free. Are you willing to match that? Or why should I go with you and not them, right? So we talked a little bit about how to overcome that. And guys, there's a lot of, if you haven't run into it yet, if you're new, you will run into it because that program is run all across the country, right? Mm-hmm. So let's go through that, Greg, and let's share what we shared on the course today in terms of how to overcome that objection. And we're talking about it from the perspective of a single agent, and you don't have a competing offer for that, right? You're just a solo agent.
So what it is, guys, is the I'll buy your house or I'll sell your house for free. Once you hear that, you have to understand that there's a lot going on behind the scenes that you don't know. So when you see an offer, you think it's super awesome, and you wonder why everybody's not going with them. Well, because there's strong restrictions in regards to that. So if Matt and Julie and their three obese little wood-dented, insulin-sucking little kids, well, they're not so little. Let's admit that. Kids, came to me and said, hey, Greg, you said you will sell our house for free if you buy through us. And I'll say, yes, I absolutely will. Here are the restrictions of what you need to jump through for me to do that.
I'm just picturing it's like Van Halen's concert writer in like 1989. It's like,
oh my God! So many people on the show right now. They're younger. They're like, who's Van Halen?
I know. Oh, it's just very sad. It's very sad.
I mean, a lot of things that these people are going to have to do, to be a part of this program, they're going to have to agree to sell their home. If they don't sell it at market value, they're going to have to take a hit of about 20 to 30% off of market value for basically nothing, and at an investor at an investor purchase price, for them to sell the home. For free, because they'll buy it. I mean, fuck, dude, if you give me here, Greg, you want to buy a house 30% below market? Yes, I will. Thank you very much. Mm-hmm. Who wouldn't do that? Turn around and sell that bitch for full price, make some profit. But that's how they're running those programs. So right. You can take away the cloak and dagger of this, and just when you talk to when the prospects say, well, Matt and Julie, I'm really glad you brought that up. I want to show you the nasty underbelly of that advertising. This is what it really means. It means that they're going to undercut you if it doesn't sell at market value. They're going to give you an offer of 20 to 30% or even more below market value. Basically, take away all the equity that you've been working on and saving for X amount of years that you've lived in this home. They're going to take it up and they're going to eat it on the resale when they go put it back out on the market. Do you want them to take your equity, or would you like to take your equity? How do you think that goes? How do you think that conversation is going to go?
So that's how you handle the I'll sell your house or I'll buy it. Now that's a strong one. Now the more typical one you run into is I'll sell your house in X number of days or I'll sell it for free. So here's how you handle that one. When they say free, they mean two things. Number one, heavily restricted, as in you have to agree to the price that they want, right? And they're going to price it at what they know it's going to sell for quickly, because they're guaranteeing that they're selling it in a certain number of days, right? Makes sense. The other part of that is they're saying they will do it for free. Not free to you. It's free in the sense that you're not paying their commission, but you still have to pay the buyer's commission. So you're really only saving. That best case scenario is you jump through every hoop that they give you. You jump through all the hoops, and they still can't get the job done for you. It's still not really free to you. They're just saying they'll go ahead and complete the deal without you paying them a commission. You still owe the buyer's agent commission, because most of the time that's what happens is buyer's agent brings the buyer. So you have to understand that there's a lot of hoops to jump through. It's not quite how they're presenting it. It is a way for them to get attention and get in the door to meet with you. And then 99% of people, once they see those options presented, decide to go with a traditional listing without that guarantee. And those agents that run that program would be the very first ones to admit that that's true. Most of their clients don't end up going with one of those programs because they're not willing to jump through all the hoops, because most of the time one of those hoops is putting it for below market price in order to get a guaranteed sale. So that's how that works. So guys, hopefully that helps. I don't know if anybody has ever run across that. I know that the gal that was in our course had just run across it several times. And if you're new to the business, if you haven't run into it, once you start to know it's there, you'll start to see it everywhere. Because who is it? Was it Craig Proctor that started doing that back in the day based on Dan Kennedy stuff? I'm pretty sure it was Proctor. Yeah. So he was an agent and still is an agent, but now turned coach, very, very famous in real estate circles. He started in the early 90s. And so that thing has been bought, copied, elaborated, exaggerated, and there's every permutation and variation of it all across the country. So you will run into that.
You will. And just now you guys know how to battle it. Go back and listen to this episode a couple times, or at least that portion of this episode. You guys can understand it. Matt and I went over it very quickly. Or if you know someone that's a friend or family member that has the Proctor system and they have that program, get in, read it, understand it. That way you'll be able to really kind of know it from the inside out and explain it efficiently and effectively to your prospects so that you sound like you know what you're talking about, unlike what Matt does when he talks on this podcast.
What's that now? I'm always meditation.
Shut up.
All right, so let's talk about this one. Let's see. The course you started today, is that recorded? I want to. Florence says, the course you started today, is it recorded? You want to sign up? Florence, yeah. If it is recorded, it's actually the first episode from today is actually already uploaded in the bonus stuff. So if you go ahead and go to getnowbusiness.com and you sign up, you'll get access to today's recording, and you can join us for the remaining 3 live sessions. So just reach out, message me on Facebook if you decide to do that, and we'll get everything squared away and taken care of so you can get into the class that's going on right now. So
Matt, actually,
you're okay with getting the recorded version for today.
Yeah. Mark actually hit me up today and asked the same thing. He knows that we already missed one, but he wants to sign up for the rest of them, so I'll email him that as well.
Yeah, do it, guys. Okay, so
anybody else who wants to sign up, guys, you can sign up right now if you want to do it.
Yeah, just message us. Obviously, all the information is set for today. But yeah, if you guys want to get in on it and you don't mind that you've missed the first session and you're willing to watch the recording, you make sure you watch the recording before next Monday's class, then absolutely just message us and let us know that you signed up. And I'll have our assistant, Leslie, our producer, go in and make the adjustment and add you into this month's course instead of bumping you into August. So anyway, I want to finish off with a question. So Linda Revoir says, I want to work with the listing agent. So I'll just call each house I want to work with. I don't want to work with just one agent. So this is a buyer who's out there that they think they want to deal directly with the listing.
Leave them alone. Run away.
Really?
Ditch them drop them like a hot rock, man, like a bad habit. Dude, because they have zero loyalty. You will always be having to look over your shoulder and make sure that they're not going over and screwing you by going directly to another listing agent, even if they say they're not. It's like a spouse or a boyfriend or girlfriend that cheats on you, It's just not a good thing. And essentially, that's what the buyer is doing. They're cheating on you because we've talked about this several times. Time, knowledge. Those are the 2 things you bring to this business. That's it. And if they're going to waste your time and use you for your knowledge, what does that say about them? Go work with someone that actually respects you and respects your time and respects your knowledge, and they want to work with you and they want to give you referrals because they love the quality of service that you gave. And I've done this. That's why I'm so passionate. Do not waste your time with people that want to fuck you, because that's what this person is, fucking you. Because the time that you're giving to them, you could be giving to someone else who actually gives a shit about you. These people
Is it an automatic, or is it just that there's a misperception that they think they're going to get a better deal out of going to the listing agent, and they just don't know the reality of the situation?
Well, you educate them on it. You say,
Right.
look, there's a fiduciary relationship, a legal document that is signed in the listing agreement stating that the fact that agent is obligated to get the highest and best price and best terms for that seller, which means they have to give you the worst price, the worst terms for you as the buyer, because they already have a relationship with the seller. So if you want to have someone that has your back and has a fiduciary relationship with you to get the lowest and best terms from the buy side, then work with someone. If you want someone who's going to try to do both ends, well, then they legally can't operate efficiently on that side.
Yeah, and we talk about this in Getting Out Business, where it's this, and this answers this question and the next objection I was going to bring up, because it all ties into the same thing. When you treat people, everybody, whether they're prospect, whether they're a current client or a potential client or friend and family, whatever, when you treat everyone like they're a client who is under your care and protection, that's when stuff like that starts to shift. Right. So this next objection I was going to throw at you is also solved by the same thing. The objection is, hey, when you ask for a referral or somebody brings this up, so they say, no, I'll just give them your business card. I don't want to give my friend's contact information to a realtor. That is a giant blinking red flag at you, that you don't come off as a respected professional that will do what's in their best interest and not yours. So the solution to both of these objections that we brought up are the same thing, which is to treat people as if they're under your care already, even when they're not, even when they're just a potential client, because it answers both of those things. So let's go back to the one where they think they want to work with the listing agent. And you say, look, I totally get it, and it seems to make sense on the surface that if you work directly with the listing agent, maybe they would cut their commission or something. They would give you a break because they don't have to split it with the buyer's agent. I totally get it. Unfortunately, in practice, that's not how it actually works out, because they are legally obligated to get the best price and the best terms for the seller, which means now that doesn't mean they can screw you over necessarily, but at every turn, their responsibility is to squeeze as much out of that deal as they can for the seller, not for you. They're not, the seller is the one that's under their care and protection. You need somebody, whether it's me or not, whether you work with me or not is not the issue. We may not be right to work together, and that's okay. But whether or not it's me or not, you need someone going into that transaction that has your back, that will put on the battle armor and go to battle for you, that is obligated legally to get you the best price and the best terms for your situation. So just know that it sounds great on the surface, but in reality, there's a reason why more and more buyers are having dedicated buyer's agents go in for them and negotiate for them, especially in this environment where sellers seem to have all the leverage. Man, you need that person that can go in and go to battle for you. So like I said, whether it's me or not, I'm just telling you that's the way the business works right now, and I hope you take that into consideration when you do choose someone to work with. Obviously, I'd love for that to be me, but if it's not, I would still encourage you to go out and find someone that will go to battle for you.
Yeah, no, Matt did a couple of scripts in there. I'm not sure if you guys caught it. He did the pullback method, which is, what, maybe we can work together, but maybe I'm not the right guy for you. But, I would love to be, but maybe I'm not. We need to explore that a little bit more. But you also gave the analogy of the battle, going to battle. You did a lot of, go back and listen to that. That was really good, Matt. I don't know if you know how good that was. But I liked it. I wanted to list my house with you. Fuck.
Well, that's unfortunate, because I was trying to get you to buy a home. So you took action on the wrong thing.
Damn it. So close. All right, 50-50 shot.
Oh man! All right, so we've got one last one that we can potentially cover, which is a good one on rebates. Before we do, guys, I mentioned it earlier. Go to reuncensored.com/introvert, guys. If you do not have Greg's magnetic self-flagellating personality where he enjoys getting on the phone, and yes, I did self-flagellating. I'm envisioning a monk walking down the street just beating himself with a whip, where you do not enjoy hopping on the phone and talking to people who don't have any idea who you are and have no connection to you, and trying to get them to list their home with you. If that is not your idea of a fun and rewarding Tuesday afternoon, go get the Introverts Guide to Sales Success, because if that's you, if you're the type of person that gets your energy from being alone, and that is a lot of people who get into real estate because you want the freedom of being in real estate, but you don't have the, not the drive, but just the, you don't have the compulsion, and you don't have the tools, like the personality to go out and get on the phone and start hitting the phones and making cold calls, guys, go get the Introverts Guide. I would have killed. I would have stepped over a hobo and punched a child to know this stuff when I was in real estate. Just the main mindset shift that we start off in the first 10 minutes of the course is so worth it, guys. So go get the Introverts Guide. If that's you, if you're not going to make cold calls, if you can't bring yourself to do it, if the phone feels like it's made of lead, that's a lot of people out there. Go get the Introverts Guide. The episode that we did with Dr. Deborah Dupree, who's the co-host for that show, that episode dropped today. So the special that we were running when we first did that episode is still valid. So you can go get the course for $67 before it goes up to $97 tomorrow. So if you're listening to this live, keep that in mind.
So guys, take a look at this really quickly. So this is day 1. See all that stuff? That's our course outline. Our second one, full of content. Our third one, full of content. Our fourth day, full of content. Guys, there's so much stuff that Matt and I put in this thing, and we're always adding more stuff to this thing.
That's the wrong outline, by the way, but yes, go ahead.
This is getting out business. We talk about.
We're talking about the Introverts Guide.
Oh, we're talking about both.
Okay.
But getting out business, guys, or the Introverts Guide, there's so much content in here.
Mm-hmm.
If you wanted to go through all of our episodes and find it, God bless your soul. Go in peace, my son, because it will fucking take you forever.
There's stuff in the courses that we've literally never once said or trained or gone into on the show.
Yeah, but I don't want to turn this into a pitch fest, but I just want you guys to know that there's a lot more going on below the surface, right? And so if that's an idea for you, you can sign up for the, Get Down Business Now or the Introverts Guide, whatever it's going to be, just get something to help yourself grow. And the cool thing is, last thing before we sign off is the fact that when you guys sign up for the the Get Now Business, not only do you get the recordings from this session, you get all the past recordings.
That's right.
So you guys can listen to all the other people and what we talked about and all of Matt and I's bad jokes and all kinds of good stuff.
They are bad. All right.
They are horrible.
Let's finish off with a question.
Yes.
All right. Priyanka Jory writes, the builder is giving us more rebate without a realtor. There's also another one in here about Redfin giving a rebate. So I want to tackle it just in general terms first. So you're going up against an agent or some company or something where they're willing to give you a rebate for your buyer client, and that's the buyer objection to you.
Mm-hmm. So the rebate, how are they wording it? Is it more of a rebate or is it more of a, what are you chuckling at?
Let's talk about it. Carl commented, Greg, you have to work that into a script. Step over a child and punch a hobo. I'm waiting to hear that from you on a cold call.
No, it was step over a hobo and punch a child.
That is true. Carl did get it backward. That's true.
But it is
let's get it right.
Politically sensitive to step over a child and punch a hobo than maiming young children. I mean, good Lord.
Yeah.
I
didn't say I was going to punch him in the face. I'll keep it limited to body blows. You got to make sure it's not something that's readily visible.
I was just going to say that. I'm like, isn't it bad to say if you just hit them where it can't be visible?
Yeah, pretty much. You just made a child abuse joke. All right. So all of our viewers are going to hate us. Our Facebook is going to shut us down. All right. Let's tackle this real quick. So let's just do the Redfin rebate one because that's a little bit simpler than the builder one. So Greg, you run into this. Buyer goes, I really love to work with you, Greg, but, the Redfin agent, they're going to give me a big fat rebate, and I can really use that check because my wife and kids, man, they need some new insulin pumps.
The kids starting to reuse the needles. It's horrible, man.
It is. It's really bad.
Well, they do have like elephant skin, so those needles get bent from time to time.
Wow.
But I would say something along the lines of, so how much? What do you get for your rebate? Because I've gone up against this several times, and I said, so what you're telling me right now is they're giving away X percent of their commission back to you. Is that right? Well, yes, that's right. Okay, So if they're giving away their money, help me understand how well are they fighting for the rest of your money? How strong of a negotiator are they if they're already cutting their own throat up front? And you have got to be a little bit ballsy to say that because you've got to, tell the person how it really is. Dude, you got to frog's fart in hell to actually work with them because they're already making a comment to you that they need the money. The monetary drive is stronger than the morals or just the overall, how to typically do a deal. So money is very important to them. So you may or may not get that buyer, but at least you can put the the grain of sand of doubt in their mind, so they start questioning and looking at the other agent. Now, every Redfin agent, I'm not trying to bash on you. Every agent that does, I'm not trying to bash on you. What I'm trying to do is show people how to respect and protect their commissions and their time. Right. And if Redfin's out there, if you guys can fucking knock it out of the park, go knock it out of the park, player. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm not hating on you. I'm just saying, if you come up against us as a buyer, just say, look, they're not protecting. They're already giving their money away back to you when this is what they do for a living. So what are they going to do to protect the rest of your interests? And just ask them and let them go from there. That would be the way. That's the way I have handled it. Yeah. Some people look at me like I have a third eye. Like, huh? They don't get it.
Yeah, they don't quite get it. Well, and here's how I think I like that script. I would add in this little bit of phrasing to try to drive that point home so that you don't get the blank stare. Right, because that little mental leap of, well, if they can't negotiate on their own commission, how are they going to negotiate on yours? I can totally see people like losing that train of thought. So I would start off with something like this. Like, Mr. Buyer, the dirty little secret in real estate and the reason why we still exist as an industry and we haven't gone the way of the dodo bird and the travel agent is because in any transaction, there is somewhere between 3 and 5% of the overall price of the home you're buying that is in play. It's in swing. And it depends on the agents on either side being good negotiators to figure out who's going to get that 3 to 5%, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're working with an agent that the reason that they got you to work with them is they immediately, before you even asked, they cut their commission to try to undercut somebody else, and they're essentially bad negotiators right up front with you. Unfortunately, they're not going to be good negotiators when they go up against another agent over the sale or the buying process of your next home. And guess who's going to get that 3 or 5% that's up in the air and in play? It's going to be that seller. Mm-hmm. So yes, it may seem. Now let's talk about that. Then you would move on to, let's talk about what you would potentially do with that cash. If you were to get that rebate, is it an issue if you just want the agent that you work with to make less money, or is it there's something that you'd like to do with that money that maybe we can find another solution? Maybe we can wrap something up into the loan. Are you looking to buy appliances, for example? That's something we could wrap into the loan. Are you looking to make some improvements to the home? Again, those are things that could potentially be wrapped up into the loan. So there's other ways to maybe accomplish your goals, still get a powerful negotiator in your corner, i.e. me. It's subtle, but get a powerful negotiator in your corner without you having to give up that ability and still meet the goals that you wanted to out with the money that you were expecting to get. So does that make sense?
Yeah, wrapping it into loans is a little bit more difficult than today's day and age, but it's still something you can, basically what you're saying is be creative out of the box, give them more value than what the money is going to cost them. So shit, man. I mean, whatever, find that sticking point of what that value, opportunity, and proposition could be to them, and then exploit it, expose it to them, and then see if you can bring more value than the X% that the other agent is willing to gift back. But we can go on this forever. Matt, we are bingo 5 minutes ago. So, guys, follow me and Matt, please. Do not friend us. Matt will not accept it, and I physically can't accept it because I have 973 waiting friend requests, but I'm at my 5,000. But follow. And both Matt and I, and you guys will see what we do live. I do lead gen live, which I'm going to do here in about a few minutes on my Facebook page. So I'm going to be doing that. Matt is going to start doing his lives again at some point, for the love of God. But you know what? There's a lot of other stuff that you guys don't see that you guys can get from us, and you can reach out and ask us questions. Matt, finish us out, and then we're putting a bow on this bitch.
All right, guys. Make sure to subscribe to the podcast on YouTube and iTunes and Stitcher, depending on your device or whether you want video or audio. Make sure that you stay up with the show that way. And other than that, guys, we'll see you on Wednesday.
Yeah, guys. We love you. Till then, peace out, ninjas. We gone.